suddenly I just get up and do some work, and my family finds it weird, but I love it. So it's never a pain or a burden. It's never a stress. I
Very
don't go.
relatable. Welcome to Eminence Unfiltered Part 14. So, today we have a very special guest, Dr. Bharti Nadkarni. She excels in pattern design around the strategies, challenges, and IP creation. She founded Appropriate IP Services in August 2019, which embodies almost 2 decades of her expertise in crafting global IP strategies for pharma products. With a focus on brand and generics products, her profound understanding of IP, business development, and regulatory affairs allows her for unique insights into the interplay of these areas on product development and marketing. So let's welcome Dr. Bharti Nadkarni. How are you, Bharti?
Doing good. Thank you. Nice. Thank you for having me here.
You're most welcome. I must say thank you that you gave me so much time today. I've been trying to interview you from a while. I must tell you, you're the first woman to come on my podcast.
That's nice. That's really exhilarating, True. Thank you so much. I love that.
And I'm super excited for this interview because we have spoken so many times off the camera as well. And it's so amazing that every time I sit with you, I have something to learn. And today is the day when we want to show that learning to our listeners and viewers as well. Just to tell you, the viewers are not only from pharma fraternity, they're also from the academic background, the kids who are looking for the career in academics, in pharma, or maybe some allied industries or in healthcare as well. They also are the subscribers to our channel and they also listen to the podcast. So, first of all, to begin with, if you can tell me, who is Bharti behind the facade of this professional, upright woman?
Why you get me thinking, huh? Who am I? Uh, I think I'm just a nice, simple girl, if I can call myself a girl. I'm 50. But yeah, somebody who I really love what I do, extremely passionate, and I think quite emotional also about the work I do and the people in my circle of life. I mean, just to cut it short, that's who I am.
All right. Every time any of your colleagues who have worked with you, if they have to introduce you, they always come up with the best possible words.
Really?
I barely have met anyone who has any problem that okay, Bharti was a little bit this or very uptight. Like she's gonna say pup pup pup. These are the things completed. I was just talking to Leila at the project management conference, and she was like that. If I've seen anyone so confident in my life that even sometimes it gets intimidating, that's Bharti. So tell me,
Good to
how do
know
you?
that. Good to have that feedback. No, seriously, it's good to have that because a lot of times people don't tell you that on your face. But good to know. So thank you.
It's you means I am not doing anything. I'm just telling you, delivering the feedback to you that people are
It is,
really
but
looking
I
up
think
to you.
when you look at it, and I'm sure you experience this. There are times. I mean, we've had a significant career that's behind us, and we've met a large number of people we've worked with, and there are experiences you like, and there are experiences you don't like. And I think at least I've always tried to make it a point to learn from those negative experiences to say that at least this is something that I will not do. So every time, whatever position I have may have been, I've tried to put myself in the shoes of the person opposite me, and then try to bring in as much empathy as I can, or at least try to understand that person's perspective. And so um, I try to be as sensitive as I can and as accommodating as I can. But yes, I definitely try and avoid behaving in manners that have been that have impacted me negatively. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, how they say the elder people that there is something to learn even from a negative experience, and putting yourself in their shoes, it's very easily said but hard to do. But since you mentioned that you're a very empathetic person in nature, it's very easy to understand the perspective of a person who's very negative as well. So, I guess this is.
I guess it comes with time, right? I mean, there have been times when I've been frustrated with that kind of a behavior. It impacts your daily working. You carry that back home, but then gradually, I guess that's what is mellowing with age or growing up or getting wise. I don't know, but you do realize that uh, you tend to dissociate yourself from it, get a balcony view of the thing, and realize that okay, this person is behaving in a particular manner. There's a story to it.
Yeah.
He or she is compelled to behave, and so I think I now look at it as like, okay, you have a problem and that's why you're behaving the way you are. I will try and understand you, but so I've come to that now, I think, where uh, at least I'm able to let go. It used to impact me, I will not deny, but I am at that place where I can kind of understand that where the other person might
Very
be coming
content
from.
with yourself, and you do not
Yes.
go into the self doubt with other persons.
Self doubt, no. I Maybe there are times when you go into self doubt. I mean, who doesn't really, when there's something new? But I think I'm very content with where I am and what I do. So I think I'm very happy with the work that I do. So I think the confidence comes from there when you love. I'm sure that's the case with you. When you
Absolutely.
know what you're doing and you love what you're doing, I think the confidence is natural. So I think that's just how it is. And I think the one thing that I have also told people whenever I've been happy or I've been angry with my teams is like, what's in my heart is on my lips. So I'm not pretentious, so if I'm angry, it'll come out. If I'm happy, it comes out. If I'm caring, it comes out. But it will come out. So it's just that. But I'm very honest. Won't lie. Don't tolerate lies either. So
But this kind of transparency, I know that means for some people it's very difficult. But once you bring it in your culture, means isn't it transformational? That means people know you who you are. They will know that if Bharti is saying this, it's going to be correct opinion. It's not going to be in the gray areas. So
no, so I think a lot of it also, you mold yourself based on what you're doing on a daily basis, right? That's become my DNA now. So being in the field that I am, and where you're talking with a number of internal and external customers who are kind of depending on you for the right answers to be able to take further decisions.
correct.
Uh, so me, when I worked with the teams that I had, the one thing that I had is whatever you say, you stand by it. Your credibility matters the most. So if you want to take more time, study, come back. But let's just be very sure about what we are saying, and let's not just be very tentative about anything, and be transparent and honest. So that is something, because I think that's the only way then to take it forward. And so it was a need for the kind of profession I am into, or the specific area of IP that I am into, where if you're not really clear, you're giving the wrong signals, and then there is a cascading effect or a domino effect, and everything could go very wrong. So that's something that I've always been sure about, and it became more and more the way of life.
Okay.
So transparency is the way for me with my teams. Yes, I mean, if you talk to anybody who's worked with me, it will always be that, oh yes, you're very
But
clear.
that much I know about you. This is for the listeners. I know how honest you are. Bharti, tell me something. Um, means there are multiple variety of options that you could have chosen in your career,
Right.
right? With your education background, with your experience, what made you stick with IP and portfolios?
Very interesting. Where honestly speaking, I've never planned my career.
Okay.
um, I think as a typical Indian kid growing up, I wanted to be a doctor, right? So I started wanting to be there, studied for it. I missed medicine by 1 mark, and I could have gone into dentistry. I didn't like that. I didn't want to be there, and then didn't want to pay up into a private medical school. So then I was like, what are my options? And at that point, very honestly, I did not know what is pharmacy. But there was some friend who was taking an admission, and I'm like, okay, seems like a
Let's
professional
see.
course, let's go for it. So that's how I did my bachelor's in pharmacy. And then, like, what's next? I was like, okay, there's a master's option, and okay, let's give that a shot. And I think to some extent my mother was very important at that point, because my mother always said that whatever the field you are in, try and take the highest possible degree or education in that field, because it's always be helpful, never a waste. And so I was like, okay, let's do a master's. And then I was like, definitely sure that okay, this is it. And yet I wasn't sure what exactly in pharmacy I wanted to do. I knew I didn't like the labs. I wasn't a lab person. So then what next? And I was still toying with the idea of this or that. And then I happened to uh, meet my would be husband, and my would be father in law at that time insisted that I should do a PhD. And I didn't want to. But then he said, you'll thank me 10 years down the line. And I was like, okay. And that's how I did a PhD. And then after that, in fact, while doing my PhD, I had a government job where I was a class one officer working with the Hafkin Institute. but something wasn't right. I wasn't very happy. And then at that time, and I'm talking about 99, 2000 is when you used to, used to open on Monday the Times of India, and you had the Ascent, and that ran ads for jobs. And I happened to see an ad put forth by Sun Pharma in the intellectual property cell. Now, I have no clue what intellectual property is at that point in time. So I go to the library, I try to read up something, and I go for the interview. And I was interviewed, and they selected me. And I don't know why they selected me, because I knew nothing about IP at that point in time. So, but I just wanted to get out of a government job. I wanted to do something different. It was very new at that time, and I took it up. And yeah, I think then the rest is history, because I loved it. I just totally loved, learned everything on the job in the process. Also, did my formal degree in IP was maybe 3.5, 4 years down the line, where I did a course, and so yeah, and then that's how it happened. And then within the IP team, I started working on various issues, various aspects, and just grew. So I always like to say I was born and brought up at Sun Pharma, and I just grew there. And the one thing I think is that I never said no to anything. Right, anything got thrown at me. If I knew it, very good. If I didn't know, I learned it and I got it done. And I eventually, as I grew and I had a team, I also passed that on to the team, saying that never say no, just take it, learn it, you grow. So while I grew in the field of IP, deep diving into everything that came across, also grew laterally at Sun. So I learned a lot. Uh, and thanks to Sun Pharma, they gave me a wonderful platform. Never questioned, had a lot of faith in me. So I grew. And I learned a lot from cross functional areas, a lot of new um, portfolios that were not related, or maybe tangentially related to IP, also came onto me. And that's how I learned and grew. And again, at no point did I ever thought that I would start something on my own. I was very happy with what I was doing at Sun. But at some point, maybe 7, 8 years back, it just felt like, okay, this is getting a little monotonous. Maybe I should do something different. And yeah, and then just literally on an impulse, I just thought, okay, I should just give up and move out of my comfort zone, try to do something different. And I did some recce, spoke to people and saying, what is it that somebody like me can do if I'm not in an organization? And mm, didn't get too much of a cue, but I was like, what the hell, we'll figure out.
I'm Bharti.
No,
I
not
know
so
what to do.
much. Not so much really. It did take some effort, because very honestly, when I was at
It
Sun,
does. Yes.
it does, right? I mean, when I was at Sun, I was so into Sun, I did not even go for conferences or anything, almost till 2016 or 17. So a lot of people knew that I was doing the IP work at Sun, but they did not know how I looked. And then when that thought came into my head that I should probably do something on my own, I said, okay, the first thing you need is network. Where is the network? And that's how I then started coming out, talking at conferences, going to conferences, meeting people, even making a LinkedIn profile was at that time. I never did it before. And that's how. And just started going. I did not know, very heartening to know that the network came back so positively to me. And I think up until the end of 23, almost, I started in 19, and up until the end of 23, almost all the assignments came to me by word of mouth or through the network. I just didn't have to go and pitch anywhere. And, that's the most heartening thing. So, a lot of it is also obviously because of the kind of work you do and the reputation you create, which gets created, I think, like we just said, so much of, if you work transparently, honestly, it just comes back. And I'm very happy with everything.
I have two things to add here for sure. One thing is the thought process that you have. It's so beautiful and amazing, starting with the thought that you want to be a doctor, then thinking about dental, but then giving up on that and thinking that, okay, this is not what I want to do, but I want to do B pharmacy, M pharmacy, then moving into PhD, moving into government job, looking for a IP portfolio, and then you learned about it, you got into there, you excelled at it. And if anybody I see as a very successful entrepreneur is you. So the reason when I said I'm Bharti is because I already saw your journey, which is amazing
No, yeah, it's been nice, even when I'm telling you
and
this
very
and I'm thinking about
motivating.
it. Thank you.
Very motivating.
Uh, it's been a fun ride always. I mean, I think I've tried to make it fun for me always. I'm somebody who lives too much in today, I think. A little bit. now I'm thinking about tomorrow or the next week or at the most the next month, but I don't think beyond that. So I really like to do what I love to do. So if it's not fun, then I want to start thinking, okay, how do we make this fun, right? So that basically is the thought process behind everything that I do even now. So if you ask me even today, did you start this with a goal in mind, or is there a goal for appropriate IB services? There isn't, and I don't want to, because kind of with all the 20 years at Sun that I was, and I mean, rightfully, it's a big company, and it's got to be rules and SOPs and everything, and I did all of that. But in this small company that I have, I don't have goals. There's no mission, vision, or that we should grow to this size, or this should be the PNL, or this should be the number of, no, nothing. The idea is just to be very happy, and work with a lot of people. I'm a people person, so I like to meet a lot of new people in new countries, new cultures, and I mean, new projects keep happening. They would have happened even at Sun, but new people, new cultures. There's so much to learn and so much to do. That is very exciting for me, and then the money just comes, right? I mean, the money is not the goal. A lot of people, when I started, also said that, well, it was easy for you because financially you would never were. True, it was that much an easier decision for me to just quit Sun and do something, because okay, financially I have never been in any kind of a issue. I have a lot of family backing. I've saved enough for myself. My lifestyle is such, I don't spend too much. So financially, it was definitely easier to take that call and jump. But now, it's not so much about, oh, are we meeting our monthly goals? There aren't monthly goals. There aren't annual goals. There aren't those kind of financial goals at all. The only thing is, are we doing good work? Are we enjoying what we're doing? Are all the people on the team getting to do everything? Is everybody getting a bite of something juicy? And I think that's about it. That's what I'm doing. And I'm hoping that that's what will also keep people happy at appropriate, and others might want to join. So that's the thing. And I think the one thing that I did, I think we discussed this, is that I have all women on my team, uh, with a reason. I am wanting to give chance to these women who are extremely well educated, talented, hardworking, but have been compelled to take a career break for whatever reason. And so these are the women, and they give me back 200% of
It's
themselves,
very good work.
and it's such a win-win, because these are all women who worked in the field of IP in corporates, and they're the best hires. So I love working with them as well. They are happy because they get the flexibility they so want. So it's a perfect match, and so we are enjoying what we're doing.
That reminds me my conversation with Caliber Technologies. You might know Caliber and Shekhar, Shekhar's wife. So when I met her, uh, she was telling me about how she is giving additional jobs to the women who have the CA background, but they are taking a career break because of the kids or because of the wedding or whatever reasons, and they all work from home. Now, after having a very big office of Caliber Technologies, means they're doing so much for women who are sitting at home. So, but that's really inspiring. That's
It is. I mean, and these women inspire you, right? I mean, I have, so there are no rules here as to, I just have to say that, okay, this is the assignment, this is the deadline, you got to deliver. You can work whenever you want. And I can see there are these girls who will wake up early in the morning or sit up late at night, handle home, handle their kids, and still deliver. And fabulous work and great quality work. And, it's so nice to see that kind of support, because then, it makes life easier for me.
it's a reflection of your own treatment with them. How
It's
you treat
mutual,
them, in
right?
the end of the day, they
It's
are going to
absolutely
take the
mutual,
work.
because
Yeah.
I can see that they're very happy. So these are all women who've either, because they don't have child support, so they want to be home, or because the husband has changed a job, and so they've relocated, and so now she doesn't have a job, and in the new city there's no support. Or somebody who's just quit a toxic culture and wants something, or somebody who just wants to work from home, wants to spend more time with their kid. But yeah, these are women who are supercharged. They're extremely passionate, but circumstances make them, sit at home, and that's not what they want to do. So my idea is, it's like I said, it's a win-win. They are these extremely qualified women, so they do good work. They want the flexibility which I can give them, and together we can do a lot. I make sure that they don't become redundant, that they are handling the most important happening things in the field. They are exposed to those kind of things. They interact with the clients, law firms as well. And so they don't get redundant. So tomorrow, when that circumstance is gone and they are ready to go back, they are still at par with everybody in the industry in terms of knowledge as well as their packages, because that's not something that I compromise on. I pay them industry level. So in some way it's like a giving back.
Right.
And I like that, because I have been very lucky to have a lot of family support, which is why I could have the career I had,
Right.
or I am having. And so if somebody doesn't have that, there's a little bit support that I can provide. I'm happy to do that.
That's really beautiful, Bharti. Thank you for sharing it with us. Now, the celebrity level question that I ask on every podcast. I have the answer for that, but I will still ask you once again. So, it's right to assume that you never always knew that you were going to end up in pharma. Am I right
Yes.
in asking this? Why is it you think this is $1 million question? Why is it you think that every successful leader that I have ever come across have the same answer to that? I want to crack this code.
I don't know really. I mean, and I can only speak for myself, I think. But I've been honest, I really did not know what pharmacy was and
Means they
landed
were
up
never
there. But
planning to end up here. They ended up there, but everything they were doing, they were always excelling in it. I
so
want
I
to
think
crack this
I think
code.
the one thing that should be common with people who are successful, and by successful I mean people who are really happy with what they are doing
Well-rounded
and
life.
enjoying what they're
Yes,
doing,
yes.
and as a result they reach the level that they reach, is that they are passionate, and they love to learn. So as long as you are ready to learn at any and every stage in life, and you don't become laid back, or you don't get that air in your head to say, oh, I know everything, then I think nothing can stop you really. So uh, yes, you've met all those successful people, but I think at some point, despite not knowing, they made it happen because they realized that, okay, this is it, this is my option, I'm going to make it work. And I think that applies to everything in life, including any project you're handling in your personal or professional life, the big project, small project, or a huge venture. So I
Making
think
the best out of whatever life is throwing at you
absolutely,
is the way.
absolutely, it is the way. And I think it works. If you try to make it work, you sit and crib, you will keep cribbing, there's a lot to crib. But if you decide that, no, I want to make this work, it will happen. I mean, I sincerely believe in that.
Thank you. Bharati, a little about your personal life. If you can tell me more about your hobbies and
Hobbies.
who you are, like means apart from your hobbies, beside work, your life means what do you do in your free time when you have, and do you like to travel? More around that.
Yes, not too many hobbies really. So I've not, as a kid, I did not have hobbies like sport or whatever. But I'm an avid sport fan. I can be the best audience that can be.
Okay.
So I watch a lot of sport.
Okay.
Sports persons inspire me,
Okay.
and I do a lot of reading as well. I love reading. I love reading autobiographies, and so I've read autobiographies of almost every sports person.
Wow.
I love reading that. There's a lot to learn. And I genuinely believe that people who've played any sport in life, which I haven't, unfortunately, but people who've played sport, individual or team sport, are always great at corporate and R&D or any professional work, because they know how to make it work with people.
Right.
And I think that's very important. So, yes, I love watching sport. Tennis in particular. Not so much cricket, but tennis, yes. I watch all Grand Slams and keep a tab on everything. I like reading, like I said. I don't like so much of nonfiction, do like autobiographies largely, and maybe sometimes I pick up an odd something, and I do read English and Hindi,
Okay.
sometimes Marathi as well. And I love traveling. Traveling is something that I love. I have a bucket list. And yeah, I'd like to do that. And I think one other thing, what do I do apart from working? I love working. So it's never a pain. I'd be sitting, suddenly I just get up and do some work, and my family finds it weird, but I love it. So it's never a pain or a burden. It's never a stress. I
Very
don't go
relatable.
I don't go to my laptop because I'm stressed. I go because something struck me or because I'm genuinely wanting to do something. So it's never a pain, even if I'm working long hours, because I love what I do. But yes, Saturday, Sundays now I try to do nothing. which means watching TV. I like watching, so I do quite a bit of Netflix. My husband and my daughter think that I am a great binge watcher. Yeah, I can sit and watch. Like I can finish 10 episodes in a day. I can sit and just watch.
Okay.
I can do that. So
All
yeah,
right.
my family sincerely believes that Netflix is doing very well in the US because there is a Bharti Nadkarni in India. But yeah, I love watching
Okay.
movies.
So, do you miss the time when one episode a week used to be aired on the TV?
Honestly, I didn't have Netflix at that time. So one episode at a
No,
time.
even on the television, we used to have like one episode a week.
Mhm.
It was not a daily show,
But
or
life is
it was not
different
like
then.
dumped all together.
But the life is different then, right? So it was nice. It would open up like a small mystery, and you would eagerly wait for that one episode next week. I was very happy with that.
I just can't. I understand what you mean by saying binge watching, because everything is dumped all together. I just can't stop myself, and I have a very strict schedule of sleeping at 9:30 to 10 or waking up by 5:30. And with that kind of schedule, binge watching doesn't work for me. And to loosen up that, to make sure that I don't put up this habit, I've stopped it. Now, I'm very happy with couple of shows which are like either once a day or once a week. So that is serving the
No, so
purpose. I'm
I
missing on good shows.
Right. So I don't catch something like that. So it's not that I will watch something week on week. I'll just pick up something on a Saturday and finish it by Sunday. And then I don't watch any TV through the rest of the week. I literally don't, unless there is a tennis match or some sport event that really,
Is there?
pulls me to the TV. But through the week, I generally don't watch any TV at all.
All right. Okay. So in sports, you said that you are an avid watcher. You're a good audience, but you never played. Any reason that you don't like to be on hit the ground?
It just happened, I guess. I don't know. I was in a group that, yeah, I still remember in school I would be the one who would be cheering people and very, but I don't know, I somehow never participated in sports.
And what about your physical trainer in the school?
I
What kind of
wasn't. I
excuses
mean,
you gave?
nothing. At our times, I don't think they ever forced you to do anything. You just did the normal PT, and that was fine, and some throw ball here and there, and that's about it. I don't think we did much. Um, Nor did I wasn't a very physical person at that time. I think I just picked up a lot of gym and working out pretty much in my 30s, and then I was a big gym person for a very long time, like 16, 17 years. And then COVID happened, and then gyms closed, and then you had to find an option. So you did everything from YouTube videos to thing, and finally I settled down with yoga. So that's something that I do now, very for a little over 2 years now. I'm very happy with where I'm doing. I think age wise also that suits me very well. So getting more flexible. Yes, happy with that.
Yeah, yoga is fun. I agree. Okay, tell me about your family. Who all we have in the family?
It's a very sweet and supportive family that I have.
Your husband, who's very supportive for doing your PhD. I know that.
Everything, the whole family is really
Yes.
supportive of everything. I owe to all of them for where I am. So my family at this point is my husband, my daughter, my in-laws, mother-in-law, father-in-law, and my mother. We all stay together, and everybody is very supportive of everything that I do. So I don't have to really worry about. Of course, my daughter's 21, so she's an adult. I really don't need to baby her, but I don't think I really babied her too much either. She's a beautiful human and very very lovely soul, and so she made it easy. So was my mother-in-law, and so was my mother. So my mother gave me a lot of ambition. My mother-in-law supported that. My daughter understood that, and the rest of the family was just like, yeah, this is what she does. And so there was a time when I wanted to do everything. I'm sure you've been through that, where you want to be the superwoman, and then and you try really hard, and a lot of things work, but then eventually I think you become wise and you realize that it's okay if you don't
It's
do a
going to
few
take a
things.
toll on you, nothing
And
else.
yeah, so I've given up on a few things. Like, I don't like cooking, so I don't do any work in the kitchen. But yeah, that works with everyone. I think they are also happy I don't cook. But yeah, so the family is very supportive of everything that I've done so far in all the 25 plus years, and I wouldn't be able to do anything without all of them. Um, so yeah, so there's also some extended family, my brother in the US, a few family friends here, all of them become family over years, and they are all supportive, even emotionally. They keep you in a space where you're happy, and if you're happy, you do really well. So yes, that is how family is.
That's wonderful. About that means I have realized one thing. Most of the time, I've seen this in a couple of videos, which are very annoying to watch, and they always say that women who are single, they happen to be more career oriented than the married women. It's not that. It's more about the supportive family. It's not that the single women can be more successful. It's about the married women or the women in relationship can be successful too if their partners or the family members are supportive. It's all about the appreciation that you pull and the support that you pull from everyone.
I mean, single or married, I think is just one aspect of everybody's personality and life. Uh, and it each has its pros and cons, and we're not getting there.
Right.
But I think support is something that you require regardless.
Absolutely.
Now, if you have a family that supports you because you live with that family, the support of that family is important. If you're alone, if you're single, you still need support from people you work with. That might be your immediate team, your company, whoever. So support is very important, and you must ask for that support. That's one thing that I've learned. You have to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help, and you must ask for help. So I've done that when it came to taking care of my daughter, taking care of the house, taking care of chores, running errands. There was a time I wanted to do everything, like I said, but then I you know got wiser, and I said, okay, no, important to also do what you can do and do the best of that. And so I think, yeah, over a period of time, you learn to do the most important things. You learn to let go of a few things. You're okay to let go of a few things. So maybe 15 years back, something that was sacrosanct doesn't matter anymore because you've just moved on, right?
Right.
So
Right. Do you have any belief in the idea of something called glass ceiling with gender inequality?
it certainly does exist, right? uh, I think fair to say that maybe I didn't experience the negatives of it too much. Um, I I worked only at one company through my life. It was only at Sun Pharma. I didn't work anywhere else, and I got a great environment there. Everybody that I reported to, or everybody that reported to me, was fabulous, very supportive, uh, and you have experiences of all kind. You learn from all of those, but I think. I did not, like I say, experience any negative effect of a glass ceiling. I know I heard from a lot of other people, my peers, in the industry, other industries, and it does exist, definitely. There are a lot of things and I think it goes to the fact that that's how the society thinks, right? And so, society at large, how it thinks is what it brings in, say, a meeting room in a corporate office. It's not very different because people behave the way they are, and how they've grown up and what's in their DNA. uh, so you do feel those things. I have been a part of it. And you will understand this is, even if you're trying to do something very passionately, so you start talking very passionately about it, and you have a man and a woman doing the same thing. The man is called passionate, but the woman is called aggressive, right? It's not aggression, guys, it's passion. you know Maybe as a woman, we are more expressive. We talk our heart out, and so it comes across as aggressive, but it's not. And there have been times, there have been at least a couple times when I was up for a promotion, and at the interview, somebody actually said that, oh, you're very aggressive. And I said, well, then make this happen without that aggression. I challenge you. Because truly,
Why explain?
or I have had, times where I'm the only woman in a room full of, say, 30 men. And I always say this is, I don't feel like a woman until you make me feel like one, right? When I am going to work, or where any man is going to work, even, you go out of the house as a professional. You enter your office as a professional. Do you ever think, when you're taking your first step, hey, I'm a woman, I'm entering office, or hey, I'm a man, I'm entering office? No, you're going there as a professional. So your gender is not in your head when you're going to work and doing your work and executing something, until somebody says something or does something to make you feel different. So a lot of times, this aggression, so called, would get cited, and people would say, oh, the way you speak, you intimidate people. And I'm like, well, then it's up to them, because I'm not doing anything. I'm just doing my job. I'm talking my heart out. I'm just passionate about it, and I I talk with my head on my shoulder. But if you feel intimidated, sorry, that's your problem, not mine. I'm not doing anything at all, really, right? So you do face that, and it's not just my experience. I'm sure. I'm just, talking about it, but I'm sure everybody's been through it, the big or small, and at every position you feel that, from peers, from seniors, from juniors, you feel from everywhere. So it's there. It's definitely there, and people like us must. So they've been, you've got to be sensitive to those kind of things as you rise in the organogram, to make way for the women behind you. And I've tried to do that to the extent I can in the smallest of things. And I remember this is, sometime, maybe 10, 15 years back, where uh, pharma corporate women had an unsaid, unwritten dress code,
Okay.
right? So it would always be churidars or Punjabis. Girls would not wear dresses to work. And then there started coming a generation of girls who had studied abroad or even here, where the whole dressing pattern changed. And I can say that because my daughter is that age and I've seen it happen. And it's all very good, right? But it was just the thing, how do you break that ice at work? That I wear this and come and I don't stick out, and that people don't start looking at me. And so that's when I said, okay, then let me start wearing dresses to work, just to make it a little, because by that time I was at a position, maybe people were intimidated to say things to me about my dresses. But at least,
Set the tone for the theme.
exactly, that's how you do it. You just lead the way. And I think that's important. You just, so yeah, I was always told I was the mother hen at work, and people would be scared to say anything to my girls or to the boys on my team. But that was with a reason, with a purpose, because that also gives them confidence. It sets the way for a whole lot of things, and so you should do that.
This is so important. Your team is everything. If you can't do things, means sometimes, some managers, when previous organizations or anytime we groom someone to become a manager, the first thing we teach them is that even if you have to talk it back to me, then you need to know that you have tongue, you have breath in your lungs, you have teeth. It's not only for eating and just, probably sticking out the raspberries to people. You need to talk for your team. You need to point it out. If you think there is something unfair, unjust, point it out. And if I'm not listening, you're already working in the wrong place.
No, absolutely. And so, as a leader, that's up to you, that you have to create that culture to make sure that people are absolutely okay coming and talking things to you, however good or bad. So, in the first place, you have to be open to taking criticism, to and change yourself. And I've tried to do that. It's not always easy. I've tried to do that, but it helps. It helps. And I think at least I have been very happy about the kind of culture that I created with my teams. It was um, very family like. We had each other's back. And I'm talking about Sun, and it's the same thing here as well now at Appropriate, but at Sun especially, because that was like more corporate. We had each other's back. And the one thing that I told, like, look, there's not going to be any sibling rivalry. No sibling rivalry in the team. We're all for one for all. And that's how we worked, and it was fun. We celebrated personal milestones. We did a whole lot of things together. I mean, and I was super excited about doing these culture changes. So I did a whole lot of those things, like, even if I probably was the only one who would take the team out. We would go out, at the time when these baristas and cafe coffee days were opening up. I would take them out and say, okay, let's go over a coffee and discuss there, or bring something in from there, and do those kind of things, which was, I was super excited about
Your
those
team
things.
will
So
be ready to die for you when you treat them like people, not the numbers on the spreadsheet. So I know what you mean.
that happens to me. I get very personally involved with people who work on my team, and so you get back a lot of love, you get back a lot of everything. And so they become family, and I've loved, I mean, I think that's the only way I know. And so yeah, those, now I feel, now that that team doesn't work with me anymore, uh, but they are these beautiful people in my life, and life is so much beautiful because of them.
Always gonna stay in
And
the
they all
heart.
come back, and we're talking about something, we're meeting, we're doing things together, so it's fun.
So evidently, I can say that means Sun Pharma can teach all of us a lot about good hiring culture, good team building culture, building good leaders. Because in hiring, I have seen sometimes people doing just marking the tick box, that is this person qualified in this, does that have this diploma. So if they saw that you just read about IP, they hired you because they saw something else, they saw the potential.
Right, but somehow, at interviews, it's very weird. I never ask technical questions at interview. I'll look at the resume, I know what
More
you've
to do with the
done.
will of the person.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want to know how open you are to learning, how
Learn.
open you are to not being spoon fed, and how open you are just to change and accommodate and adapt. That's what I want to see when
Skill
I'm
I can teach
interviewing.
you, will you have to
Yes,
bring.
yes, everything can be learned, but attitude. So that's what I look for generally. I never, I mean, obviously, because you're hiring, there's a JDA, it needs to match certain level of qualification, certain level of experience, and all that is fine. But beyond that, when I've sat face to face with people, I've never asked them technical questions on IP. It's generally a whole lot of other things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is the vibe I get, or a call. Not
Something
that
that you
I've
feel in the gut.
true. It's not that I've not made wrong calls. There have been wrong calls
Yeah.
either, and you learn from those.
Right.
But yeah, generally I go. But the vibe I get with people, like I said, I'm a people person. I need to get that. Okay, this is
Bharti,
my
you're
person.
such an amazing woman. Means I know that you said that I don't want to be a superwoman anymore, but you already are. There is so much to learn by just talking to you for 5 minutes as well.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you think like that. I don't know. I mean, it's just like sharing experiences. Everybody's willing to. It's how much you want to take from me, right? I mean, I'm very happy to talk. I love talking. Everybody who knows me knows that. But how much it is that you want to take from me is completely up to you, right? I mean, so it's as much on you, right? Not so much on me.
Thank you, but you're very easy to talk to as well. Because of your honesty, you just transparently say it. People who cannot take honesty, that's a different scenario. But otherwise, thank you for sharing. Now, before we let you go, I do have last two questions. First is if there is any advice you would like to share in the camera for our pharmaceutical professionals who are still growing, aspiring leaders who are still growing in their career, that what is the leadership advice would you like to give them?
So I think to young students, the advice that I have is use the 20s of your life to get a lot of experience. So experiment, right? Don't stick to something, one thing. Try, experiment, because this is the time when you can spend a lot of time on yourself, and you must spend on yourself. So experiment with areas within pharma that you think you want experience on, or to find out what you love, because finally you need to do something on a daily basis for 30, 35 years. You must love it. You can't drag yourself to work. And this is something people who talk to me would have heard this a lot of times. Don't drag yourself. If you think you're dragging, step back, take a call, learn from what is happening, and then decide it's time to change course. You get one life, and don't mess it up for yourself. So experiment, yes, do that. Don't bother so much about salary in your 20s, because in your 40s, if you've done the right things, if you're working hard, if you're passionate, if you are ready to learn on a daily basis, money will flow without asking. But in your 20s, experiment and try to learn, read a lot, uh, and please start spending time on your own health, because that's very important. You must do something for yourself, a hobby, uh, get into good habits like working out, whatever form of workout that works for you, but do it. Because I think two things that are very important are, one is love what you do, but you must also love your own self. If you can't love your own self, and I don't call this selfish, it is self care. You must love yourself so much that you're capable then of taking care of the rest of your world. So if you don't do that, you're going to fall short. So spend time wisely, meet a lot of people, network a lot. It's helpful. It's any person you meet is not a pointless or useless contact. 10 years down the line, that person may be somewhere and help you out, and that network helps. So please network a lot, read a lot, experiment a lot. And I think, that's what it is. Learn. If you feel like, an MBA helps, go for it. If you want to do a course, do that. But yeah, do also keep an active life outside of your profession, some hobby. I didn't do it, but do it. It's helpful, it helps you unwind, and it's a nice way to stay fresh and young. So yeah, these are some few things that I would like to tell youngsters.
Thank you, Bharti. Thank you very much. And there's one question that we get from the pharmaceutical mid-level management or who are just growing into the senior level roles. They always say that they sometimes get into a pickle of how to create a transparency from top management to shop floor. And that's where they are still stuck in a loophole of staying in the middle level management. any advice that you have for our folks who are looking for future growth?
The most difficult phase in your career is when you're transitioning from junior management to mid or senior management. Unfortunately, a lot of companies don't have a hand holding process at that time. So you're in a soup, right? Because suddenly everything is very new. Your people reporting to you, your new bosses, there's more responsibility. My strong advice is hire a mentor, now within the system or outside. I have myself done that. I have hired a mentor for times where I have felt overwhelmed and I didn't know what to do. Sometimes your family helps. You talk to your partner, a friend, a sibling, and that helps. But sometimes it doesn't, because they are not in your area, and they cannot give you the right kind of advice. So either go to your boss if that boss is willing to be your mentor. Otherwise, look at a mentor from outside and pay for it. I will genuinely advise to pay for it, take sessions, because it is so helpful to unwind and to understand what is happening at the grassroots level inside of you. So that mentoring is helpful. That mentoring will help you sort a lot of professional and personal issues, which makes life a lot easier for you to handle at work. I've seen that happen to myself. So go for a mentor, and that is very helpful. And all those questions, how do I handle my juniors? How do I? I'm not a confrontational person, but how do I do this? How do I ask? I myself have been a person who find it very difficult to ask for anything. So I had to take mentoring. Like, if I'm starting my own business, I have to ask for work. And if I have a problem with asking, how am I going to do this? Or a lot of us, and especially women, we have uh, the uh, a lot of syndromes that are around here, where people make you feel we get impacted by people. So mentors help in this sense, because they are neutral, they want to help you. Take that advice, it's extremely helpful. So I strongly recommend mentors to everybody. That would be a great way of sorting things out, helping you grow. It'll also tell you what kind of soft skills you need to focus on and acquire, or any hard skills, and or how to negotiate, how to move further. It helps, mentors help you putting together your own personal vision, mission, and how to execute all of that. So very, very helpful. So mentoring is something I'm a big, big supporter.
Thank you, Bharti. Thank you very much. Wow. Really an amazing conversation. And to conclude our conversation, I must say that means what really worked for you is your fearless attitude, the outspoken, honest behavior, your support to your team, which has always been there, your ethical approach to everything. You're never stopping the learning part of the life. Means you have always tried, means you have never stopped at any phase after your PhD, and even while you moved into portfolio, while you were moving into leadership, while you started your own work as well, you've always been learning, open to learn, and that's what you've been teaching. You support other women, you support other team members. So all of this in the end of the day, with yes, one very important advice about reading, researching more, and while you need some help, good mentorship is always going to go a long way. So to conclude this, I think this is like the best book we have created for a good route to leadership and good route to career growth. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Bharti.
so much. Thank you for inviting me. It was really a pleasure talking to you. And thank you for some really thought provoking questions, because they got me thinking too. Very honestly, when we talk like this, um, I feel sorted also, because when you talk to somebody, your thoughts sort themselves and you learn a lot about yourself as well. So thank you for taking me through this ride. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, so we had Dr. Bharti Nadkarni with us today. If you have any further questions about this, please put it in the comments below. We will make sure that we get the answers from Dr. Nadkarni. See you in the next episode. Thank you.